One gaming company cut over 1,000 jobs this year and said, quote, "It has nothing to do with AI." Another cut 3,200 jobs while pouring billions into AI infrastructure. Same industry, same year, and a completely different story. So which one do you actually believe? Let's start with the biggest. In July of 2026, Microsoft's Xbox division cut 3,200 jobs, about 20% of the entire division, and closed or spun off 5 studios. The new Xbox CEO, Asha Sharma, said in her memo that Xbox Studios had been losing 64 cents for every dollar invested, and that the division's margins were 3 to 10 times lower than comparable gaming businesses. Here's the part that actually matters though. Sharma didn't come from gaming. She came straight from Microsoft's AI division. And these cuts happened at the exact same time Microsoft confirmed it's spending $190 billion on AI infrastructure this year. Microsoft's stock had also dropped around 19 to 30% over the first half of 2026, with investors openly questioning whether that AI spending would ever pay off. There's even a weirder detail here. A shortage of memory chips, driven partly by AI infrastructure demand, has pushed the cost of key console hardware components up several times over. So the same AI boom that's part of the reasons for these layoffs is also making it harder for Xbox to even build consoles. Now compare that to Square Enix, the company behind Final Fantasy. They laid off well over 100 employees across the US and Europe, and in the same very announcement said they're aiming to have generative AI handle 70% of quality assurance and debugging work by the end of 2027. This is the most direct admission from the entire industry, saying we're cutting people and AI is explicitly part of why. Then there's Epic Games, the makers of Fortnite. In March of 2026, they cut more than 1,000 jobs, but CEO Tim Sweeney went out of his way to say, quote, "The layoffs aren't related to AI," pointing instead of declining Fortnite engagement and broader industry conditions. Here's why that's worth questioning just a little. Epic had actually been pretty open about embracing AI elsewhere. They've allowed AI-made games onto their own store, even when competitors like Valve pushed back on it. So it's not that Epic is anti-AI, it's specifically that they don't want this particular round of cuts associated with it. Maybe that's true, but maybe it's just easier to blame Fortnite's numbers than the word of everyone's scared right now. And then there's Riot Games, makers of League of Legends and Valorant. Riot has cut around 600 employees since 2023 in smaller, scattered rounds. A fighting game team cut in half, publishing roles trimmed, projects quietly reset. Riot doesn't really talk about AI in these announcements at all. It's framed purely as restructuring and shifting priorities. But it's happening during the exact same industry-wide moment where, as one analyst put it, most new investment in gaming is chasing AI instead. So who's actually telling the truth? Here's the thing about the company's memos. They're not neutral. They're written to manage how a decision gets perceived, but not necessarily to give you the full picture. When Square Enix says AI is the plan, that's honest, but it's also strategically timed right when AI is what investors want to hear. When Epic says AI has nothing to do with it, that might be true, or it might be that AI is replacing your job is much worse as a headline than it is Fortnite engagement dropped. And developers themselves aren't buying the optimism. In a 2026 industry-wide survey, 52% of the game industry professionals said they believe generative AI is having a negative impact on the industry, up sharply from just 30% the year before. That's a real story underneath all 4 of these companies. Whatever the memos say, the people actually making the games are increasingly convinced that this isn't going well for them. This is the exact kind of thing I want to keep digging into. Not just what a company says in a press release, but what the actual numbers and timing tell you underneath it. If you want me to keep tracking this AI and layoff story as it develops, subscribe and let me know in the comments what company you think is being the most honest about what is actually happening. Thank you for watching.